Yeah. If you're the kind of person that's into the Empire or all kinds of theories because they just dabbled in a bunch of stuff, then this episode's for you. Let's get into this.
Previously on the Ahsoka Breakdown.
I couldn't help it, Pete. Look. Yeah, baby. Yeah. All right. Welcome back to Paul's Collectibles and the Ahsoka Breakdown. I got Kat, I got Pete, and it's good to have you. Today we're talking about the latest episode of Ahsoka, episode 6. But before we get started, as always, Kat, how are you doing, ma'am? It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm doing pretty good. Very interesting episode, so I'm curious to see how you guys feel about it.
Excellent. Pete, over to you, sir. How have you been, man? It's good to see you again.
Nice to see your face as well, and you too, Kat. Love you guys. I'm so glad it's Thursday again. And I quite enjoyed this episode.
Right?
This could be fun to dig in.
This is not, we'll get there, but that was an interesting way to reintroduce Thrawn. It got a lot of surprises we're going to get to. But, Kat, you know how this goes. I normally start with you, but I've got a special slide here that I want to start with Pete on because he's a little bit more of the pragmatist. So we're going to jump right in.
Okay.
But, I almost forgot before we jump in. You guys, I forgot. Rolando, it's good to see you.
What's up, Rolando?
And as always, we know that girl. Thanks for watching, everybody. There's chat legend G-Force in the house.
G-Force.
Yep. Oh, yeah, see, Hoppy knows me so well. Oh, man. Luckily, I got a couple of extra Stormtrooper helmets I might be modding. We'll talk about later. Michael Reed, good to see you.
Hi, Michael.
I love all the people that are at work trying to catch us, too. That's really cool. I appreciate you guys. So let's get on down here. Right, exactly, right? There is Mr. B. Always good to see you.
Hey, Mr. B.
And coming on down. Hey, there we go. Dino, did I stay awake watching this episode? Stay tuned later in the live stream to find out. Nice. Dino, it's always good to see you, man.
Don't fall asleep during this so we can find out.
Right. Hey, he's in the chat on time, and it's not quite in the stream on time, right, Kat?
Yeah. At least he's here.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. And there's Blue X. It's always good to see you. Yeah. Mr. B has a Sabine speeder bike helmet. No, I was busy all day today. I might have to go check that out, Mr. B.
Ooh.
Yeah. Kenneth Bird.
Hey, Kenneth.
Hey, Kenneth.
There we go. Old school Mike Henderson in the house. Or Hendrickson, excuse me.
Michael.
Yeah. And there we go. Hey, guys, mostly lurking before back to work. Everybody, yeah.
Gilster.
Yeah, you guys are awesome that are trying to do this. Yeah, G-Force. Wait, the Thrawn was in this episode? Hey, there we go. There's Josh.
Hey,
and
Josh.
I know it really is Josh, not someone I'm calling Josh. So there's Jonathan. Depends on which version of Thrawn you mean. G-Force for sure.
Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
What's Michael got going here? But Paul needs more troopers, especially those night troopers. Oh my God! We're gonna spend probably way too much time on that part of the show. But anyway, it's good to have you in the chat. I greatly appreciate it. In the future, if you're watching us on the replay, I greatly appreciate that as well, because I know there are a few people that are actually doing that. You guys, it's really cool. But anyway,
Wait, I feel like every once in a while we should throw in some work-related jargon, just in case somebody's boss comes in. So on page 37 of the TPS report, you'll see that I highlighted.
right. And Gilster, I'm going to need you to go ahead and come in on Sunday as well, okay? All right, thanks. Oh, man, let me do a couple of adjustments here.
Looking for my red stapler there, and
Yeah.
right? I'll burn it down. I'll do it.
I was told that I could listen to my small volume in a reasonable volume between the hours of 8 to 11 on Thursdays and stuff. But anyway, so like I said, Kat, I don't want to be rude, but I want to start with Pete on this one because we're gonna do the pragmatist join thing here. Pete, this seems to be a theme through this show. First off, talkie exposition. Oh God, can we get to it? Number 2, and I want you to touch on this as well, if you don't mind, and tell me what you think. Ahsoka quickly seems to be becoming a side character in her own show, like Boba Fett, and in some cases, The Mandalorian after Bo-Katan was introduced. What say you about what we're getting here, friend, and what do you think?
Yes, especially, now that we've got hindsight of the entire episode, you're like, really? Her cameo was like, we're still in the mouth of the whale. We're playing Jonah, and, Wang, tell me a bedtime story.
Right.
Yeah. And then, in a galaxy far, far away. I was like,
all right, yeah.
Okay, we're doing that again. All right, a little nod there. But yeah, I was like, again, a little too much in the cockpit. Come on. We know you left in the mouth of the whale last week. We get it. I really don't need travel scenes of bright lights between the, whale mouth.
Right.
Just, yeah, like I said, now that episode is over, you're like, well, shit.
Right.
She was hardly in it. Like, this is the Ahsoka show, right?
Right. Well, and you remember, Pete, at the beginning of this, I asked you if this just turns out to be a continuation of Rebels, was that going to bother you? But is this a little too little Ahsoka?
It's a little too little Ahsoka. Like, I wanted her to somehow... I know at least it was a, good length episode. It wasn't, a freaking 20-minute, but I know we had to cram a whole lot in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, can we just... Maybe I'd feel better if they just released, like, 2 episodes this go-round, so it didn't feel near as disjointed.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't disagree with you. Jonathan makes a good point.
You get the DTs after, Mandalorian and Boba Fett. You're like, wait, what? Huh?
Right. So this has been more, I mean, to be honest with you, Sabine's journey has been more interesting thus far than Ahsoka's. So anyway, I love Jonathan. Grumpy Ahsoka is back, just what the show needed. And then G4, I asked for new salt in my margarita, and they brought me salt. There's no salt in the margarita. And then really quick, there's Arthur Henderson. It's good to see you, sir. I appreciate it. Kat, my thoughts on this slide. You just heard Pete. Weigh in on this one, and what do you think about those 2 points I brought up?
I went the complete opposite way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Really?
No.
You don't say.
No.
Okay, so yeah, she's, she is a little more, she's not as smiley. I think because she's finally reflecting on what actually happened with Sabine.
Okay.
And she did let Ewan in, and that, she chose freely to go with them, which was concerning and that kind of stuff. And she feels that she's starting to see that kind of regret still of, I didn't teach her enough to not make this decision. It's worth the sacrificing of one versus the many type thing because of what it actually means bringing back Thrawn. But what I kind of also latched onto is when they were talking about the history of the galaxy, stories 1, 2, and 3. So, of course, I absolutely loved him saying, in a galaxy far, far away, and he starts telling the story. But here's the thing: is they're talking about history. So does that mean that where they're going, is that the actual is that where everything started? That's how I felt like he opened it up by him saying, because this is truths handed down at the temple from all the stories when they were kids, and him kind of doing that. So I took that as, okay, we're actually going to start going into the history of where maybe everything started from, and then kind of moved on. So there's different parts that are brought up throughout the show that I'm going to loop back of kind of bringing up my point of maybe this is all connected to where we're going to go, where it originally started. This was a secondary galaxy. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Do you think that was a Dave Filoni nod to, like, the original trilogy, part 1, if you know what I'm saying? Well, like, the best part.
Well, I think it was just fan service, but I dug into it. I read into it. It's deeper than that because of the other things that pop up in the show. So I think the
fairy tale.
But, yeah, but then it's just to me it lines up with Balin's motives and kind of what we see later on with Thrawn and the Night Sisters and everything like that. So I took it that way. So I don't know. But I enjoyed it. And the shots were so far. I really liked the amazing shot with them being in hyperspace. So I thought it was beautiful. I love seeing Purgles. I'll never get tired of that. So I did like that though.
Nice. So my favorite is Jonathan Redmond through our whole streams will be like, that was just member berries. That was stupid. Why did they even do that? For God's sakes. And I love it because then at the end he's like 8.5. You're like, okay. Yeah. I love you, Jonathan. You too. I don't disagree with most of what Jonathan says actually. So yeah. And
I want to know, like, obviously, you know, these whales, if you're a Jedi, you can talk to them and they're ready to just jump to Peridia and just, you know, like sperm of the moment.
Oh, God, Pete. What are we? We're 11 minutes in. Wow, dude, that didn't take long. Yeah. That's got to be a record, bro. Yeah, that's got to be a record. Wow. Okay, good for you,
But
Pete.
no, seriously, it's like we know that the whales go there to croak, but like they're willing to take a journey. You know, first time to help Ezra, and then this time, you know, Ahsoka's doing the like, you will take us there, and they're like, okay.
God, they're pretty cooperative. That's for sure, Pete. I will give you that. Josh, no, Pete, no. Oh man, that's funny, and that's no problem at all. GeForce, I will interpret whatever you type as best I can. Kat, before Pete has a chance to throw another dad joke, and I'm going to stick with you, okay? The consequences of our decisions, ma'am. What's going through your head at this point? You know what the next slide is, and thank God. But right now, what are you thinking?
She's like, why the crap am I in here? What? Like, what? Like, I love when he comes up to the window and he's just like, you know, I thought you wanted, you know, time to reflect. She's like, absolutely not. Why? Because she completely messed up. She knows she made the wrong choice and she's going to pay for it. But yeah, the fact that she's like, you know, I wanted a little room with the view and stuff like that. Really? Like, they're still evil. You really think they're going to have you out with the rest of them eating lunch? No. I mean,
eating lunch, right?
It's pizza day.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I'm sorry. You had to miss out on pizza day. No.
Right. You know what, though? On this ship, at least they probably cleaned the top of their table, unlike Ahsoka's, which is the floor 30, right? Yeah.
That's true. That's true. They probably don't work out in the same room, so.
Right. I was just sweating onto this. We're going to have dinner off of it? Ugh.
There's a hair in this.
Yeah. Oh, no. Pete, wait, what's the dad joke? I'll wait. Go ahead.
No, I'm not.
No, okay. I wanted to make sure you got an ample opportunity and a floor. It's just a little thing, Pete, but I love Star Wars handcuffs. If you look at those, I mean, I could pull my leg through them, much less her tiny little wrist. But outside of that, what are you thinking so far?
I was, you know, Balin's comment is well taken. Like a real Jedi would, and we've seen this time and time again, when they're hemmed in or they're, you know, locked down, what do? They're meditating. And she's just kind of laying there, you know, and then like, you know, disgruntled, like, let me out. What? Yeah. You said I could hang with you. I want to be with the cool kids. I gave you the spear. And you're like, womp, womp, womp.
She kind of reminds me of Rafi when he didn't want to be in timeout to think about what he's done. All of her effort avoiding that the whole time.
Right.
You think about what you've done. I won't.
I won't even think. I'm going to think about Star Wars. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll say that a lot. Like if I, you know, fall off the ladder in the backyard, Pete, I'll just lay on the grass and go, I'm just going to lay here and think about what I did for a second, you know, or something. So yeah.
The older you get, fall off man. You're like, how did I get here?
Yeah, let me reassess my life decisions. That's what she reminded me of. Yeah.
I took, you know, Sabine being very bratty and you know, which is typical Sabine. Like, I won't meditate. I'm not going to use this as an opportunity to think about the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The stark contrast, of course, being Qui-Gon Jinn in the first movie, where in the middle of a battle, he's got 3 seconds and he goes, which I thought was a good contrast. So, yeah. Yep. Really quick, there's Matthew.
Hey,
Matt's collection.
Matt.
Yeah. And this episode had it all. Boy, that's a good way to put that for sure. Mm-hmm. And then Josh, all I know is the director does a fine job of giving me plenty of cake shots each episode, so I'm perfectly satisfied. All right, perfect. You and Jonathan can have it out in the chats, dude, because Jonathan's going off. I love it. I love this one. Even the bad guys know Sabina's the worst. Why couldn't you just spend the entire season locked in? Tough crowd, man. I love it, Jonathan. Keep it up, brother. Now I didn't get a shot of the cinematic, Pete, and I should have, but I probably picked the wrong slide. But we're entering orbit and we're talking about it, and turns out those rings are the bones of those dead whales and stuff in there. They go into a little exposition of what this planet is. I know Kat has probably 10 minutes of backstory on this, but Pete, what were you thinking when you saw this?
I was blown away with that. I kept pausing and rewinding just to take in that vista of, the whale bone carcasses everywhere, which reminded me very much of like deep ocean. You know, the rovers go down there and you're like, what do you see? Whale bones, which was really cool.
Wow.
But yeah, then the planet, you know, we're coming in and on the shuttle, and it's like, holy cow, is it awesome. Very Lord of the Rings kind of, with the giant statues of the Marion, or the witches, mega witches.
Mega witches, yeah, that's
mega
really
witches.
Yeah. Did you, was there any of this? We didn't see this planet or even hear of it before today, right? This wasn't in Rebels or anything, was it, Pete?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Kat, I know that you were I could hear you giggling as we got onto this planet because this is your jam and all this stuff. What were you thinking about the exposition here, those rings, and you saw the next slide about the whole design of this planet?
So when I first saw the rings, I was like, holy crap, we're in Star Wars, because that's Saturn. So we're the far, far away in the galaxy, right? So I was like, sweet, Star Wars is real because that's Saturn. Awesome. But I thought it was amazing that the rings were made of the whale bones and all that kind of stuff, like very grimacing of I mean, you can't not say it's not a graveyard, you know. So I think that's really, I think it's very kind of poignant that that's where the Purgle took Ezra and Thrawn. That's where they decided to take them. So I think that's huge in itself with it. But I thought it was beautifully shot with it. And then seeing the ship come down, I totally got like Old Republic vibe ships off of that, because it's kind of sleeker and kind of point like some of the Old Republic ships. So I thought it was great. The planet looked amazing, even though it's kind of like a wasteland. I got a lot of, like what Scuba said, a lot of Lord of the Ring vibes from it with the statues. Apparently Minas Tirith's in there as well. We get a shot of later with where they're at.
Okay.
No, I was giddy from the whole time. Like, we just saw it. I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is where we're going to see. Okay, where'd they come from? Here we go. You know, and then it, of course, spurred on a bunch of different thoughts in my head with that. But no, I absolutely loved it.
Ah, nice. So Arthur nailed it on the head for me. I was getting big time Chronicles of Riddick off of this, and I saw it. And then later, I actually put it on Twitter a little while ago. The bad guy has that same type of helmet as the Stormtrooper. Yeah, the Lord Marshal. Question: either of you can jump in on this, but Kat, you did mention it. Pridia, home of Minas Tirith. You want to translate what Matt's talking about again? Because he always beats me up with that. I don't understand.
Okay, so when you see I don't remember exactly where it's at, but you see the shot of, you know, where they land, and then you see a far away shot. So it's like it's built into the side of a rock. In Return of the King, you see Minas Tirith with the human ruler kingdom. It's built into the side of a mountain. So it looks just like that. So it looks like Minas Tirith.
Oh, so he's doing a comparison between two movie franchises.
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, I never heard of no Minas Tirith in Star Wars, but
no, it's Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Right. I did see all of those, but they're so long that usually by the end of them I was good and intoxicated, so I don't remember.
Right.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, thank you, Kat. Thanks for pointing that out, Matt. Kat, let's take a look at this really quick. When Sabine was out looking around, I thought they filmed on location just north of Yoder. What's that, Kat? Anybody know what Yoder is? Because I don't. Yoder, that's the little green guy on Dagobah, right?
I know Yoder in a different way, but not. I don't think him and I are thinking the same things with Yoder. So I'm not sure what he's thinking on that.
All right. Well, we'll move on, and if I know Matt, he'll explain it because that man can type. Yeah, he can type. Kat, Do I need to even say anything? You brought these up at the beginning of this series, and now here they are. What you got, girl? She said,
See, hanging out with them in my Star Wars Galaxy games, going to their village and seeing them all over Dathomir, and then seeing them in Clone Wars, I thought they looked so amazing in live action. I think they nailed it on the head with all of them and how they act and their looks, just everything. I absolutely loved it. I love the interaction with them. I don't know if I should jump into it, but anyway, basically, because it comes off with a lot of other things, but I loved how they didn't waste time in sniffing out Sabine and saying, "Oh, I smell a Jedi," basically, right? Like, I loved how, because they have such disdain for Jedi, and the fact that they picked it, and her look was like, "What? Not me, right? I don't have the Force. I don't." No, clearly you got the wrong person. Like, it's not me. Like, right. I love that. Yeah. They're like, no, we're gonna lock you up. So I love that little interaction with them. But they're just amazing.
Before we go over to Pete, I want to point out one thing. I noticed that these things look a lot like the ones that they had on the other planet, and they're the background of our stream, as a matter of fact, if you look. So that was pretty cool. Here you go. Let's see, Kat. Yoder is apparently a town east of Colorado Springs, always on Earth.
Oh, Yoder. Oh,
okay.
I thought he was talking about movie-wise, so I was thinking of another movie that had Yoder in it, not Yoder, Colorado.
Okay. And then
it does though. That now that he says it, it's very similar. Very similar.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then, of course, Josh, ever the, what's the word I'm looking for here? Ever the flatterer. Yoda man, Paul. I see what you did there, Josh. It's funny.
Yoder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Made us what's me with exactly. Yeah. Okay. Pete, I promise I'm going to go to you. I'm not deliberately stalling, but what up, Leslie? What's up, two dudes in a dudette? It's always good to have you, Leslie. I appreciate that. I'm just waiting for my wife to pop in with her one sentence that can be applied to just about whatever we're talking about, because she has no idea what we're talking about. So it's awesome. Anyway,
it's still great to see her.
It is always great to see her, especially since she's proficient with firearms, right, Pete? Yes. Okay.
Dinner will be on the table, lady.
Yes, I do a lot of cooking and cleaning around
He's
here.
Number one with the bullet.
You're right. Yeah. Pete, Night Sisters, the arrival, the interaction. What you got, brother? What'd you think?
So, that first arrival, seeing Night Sisters in their garb, and the garb is flowing just like it was, in the cartoons, was just blew me away. I was totally fanboying. I was like, yes, because I always liked those scenes whenever we went to Dathomir and they were doing their magic and, Savage or Darth Maul or, working with Dooku. But yeah, they were just as sinister as I wanted them to be. And I love the fact that we see that they're still using like that Stonehenge setting that we left. Obviously, this came from there, and but it's being taken care of. It's in great shape. But there's something very, we're going to get probably all kinds of theories into that, but obviously their power, things are being carved out of the land there, not landslide. There's something to this planet that we're in. Like we're using stone, like there's a greater power there. I find this very fascinating.
Agree. Once again, either of you two can chime in on this. I guess one of these actresses, according to Matt, is named Claudia Black. And that means that Claudia Black has now been in Riddick, Stargate, SG-1, Farscape, and now Star Wars. So that's interesting. I'm guessing it's probably the lady that was doing most of the talking. So we have a question from Jonathan. I'll let you guys, either one of you. Sabine has like zero force ability. What did they sniff out apart from her being locked in a cell with no shower for a week? Kat, you want to take a stab at this one? And then Pete, I'll let you follow up.
I mean, I think it was purely just you're not running the show. Like, yeah, I'm gonna help you, and I have like Balin's gonna keep his word, but it's under his terms. This isn't just oh, well, I'm one of you guys now because no, you're still a prisoner. You're still on the wrong side. So of course we're gonna shove you in there, and that kind of stuff. And I kind of felt like a few different parts. So like when he's talking to her in the ship, and she's like, "I wanted a room with the view," and then when they lead her away going down the stairs, inside, and she's screaming, "Where's Ezra? You told me." I kind of felt like the whole vibe with Lando, and he's like, "This deal's getting worse all the time because it keeps getting older." That's what I kind of felt vibes of, which I kind of liked with that. But I mean, I think it's just part of like you're not running the show. You'll get to Ezra when I say, and that's that.
Nice. Pete, what did you get from what Jonathan's saying here then? Because I have a theory and Rick hit on it.
I thought that.
Agreed?
Wow, that's.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Sorry. I was just thinking that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Right, yeah. I got to end stream now and take my win and just leave. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thanks. Bye-bye. See you next
week.
Bye-bye.
You guys take care. Yeah.
No, I was like, to me, I was like, oh, these witches are so tuned in. They're so powerful that even Sabine's really, really sucky force abilities, they can sniff that out. Like, what little she has, even they can pick up on that.
Interesting.
And I like the fact that they were like, even still, like, I'm sure they can measure that she does suck, but she's still a threat. So let's send the little 3-sphere thing and haul your ass away. We don't need to have you running around all willy-nilly. I dug it that they just threw her into another cell again.
Right.
It reinforces their disdain for Jedi.
Yeah.
You see that in Clone Wars, and then if you know the history of Night Sisters and all that, they hate Jedi, and I really feel like they pulled that off, and I'm really happy that they did, because I was afraid they were going to kind of hem-haw around it, but...
Right, yeah, be a little too vanilla, and it's like, nope.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Because, shockingly, Rick had exactly what I thought. I thought they sniffed out Balin, and they're like, I smell Jedi, and they're talking about the two mercenaries, and then this woman's got handcuffs on, so she's obviously got to go into a cell. I don't think those two are the same thing. I think there's something completely different. Ed, Josh actually agrees with me, but I love that we can all watch the same scene and get something completely different with it. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there you go, Michael. And Sabine was just a loose string because she's got cuffs on, so we're like, yeah she's going into a cell. Excuse me. What do we got here next? Oh, Pete. Yeah. So you mentioned it really fast. We'll start with Pete on this one. I love the futuristic prisoner transport here and then everything. So, but you kind of talked about why they did this.
That was really cool. I mean, because they were just holding those spheres, and kind of commune before they showed up. This whole Trinity thing going. We saw 3 giant statues, and there's 3 great witches, and they each have a sphere, which is cool. That's a nod. I took it to the sphere that we had the map on, but it's also these little, little Flash Gordon rover things, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, take her. Like, we don't, like, the spheres will take care of it.
Right. Prove your loyalty. How loyal is it? Without measure. Boop. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, that's another movie from 1980. That's old, I am. Kat, up to this point, what we're seeing of Sabine and how they're treating her here, you kind of touched on it a little bit. Anything more? What did you think of this little technology thing as well?
I love that they have multi-uses for treasure balls, and they come in sizes. So, don't die.
Not gonna touch it. Not gonna touch it. Just go. Just go. Yeah. Oh my God, you too.
Different uses. So I love it. Resources are limited, so you got to adapt. But no, I thought it was a great way. They didn't have to. I kind of felt like she's beneath us, so we don't have to do it. We got stuff to take care of her, like, because she's nothing. So I liked it.
I don't disagree. Yeah. So, but at this point in the episode, I'm like, okay, can we Can we? You know what I mean? Am I being unreasonable, Pete, or are you feeling the same way by this point? Because it's all talking and standing around, and I'm like, for goodness sakes, here we go again. Am I crazy, Pete? Am I being too harsh?
No, because it's a poignant reminder that Ahsoka's still in the mouth of the whale, and like we're gonna get there. Do. You know, like elevator music playing. You know, is kind of like plot B, and you're like, come on, like at least come into the. What's this one?
Oh, that's exactly. I was like, oh my God, Cat, no. I'm not going to read that out loud. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. We're like, come on, let's pick it up. Let's make it a little snappier. The witch thing was, I thought that was on point, but at the same time, like, where's a wipe to Ahsoka dropping into orbit as well with the whales?
Okay, you're picking up what I'm laying down. Thank you, Pete. You see, I'm like, we went from what we used to do to now we're back to it's just one linear story the whole time instead of showing what multiple. Why aren't we seeing Carson talking to the people? Why aren't we seeing what Ahsoka's doing? Why aren't we seeing we just here we go again with the linear storytelling, and I was very disappointed about that. But anyway. Kat, really quick, am I being unreasonable?
No, I can see that.
Okay.
I mean, from last week's, the jumping around was perfect. They married it perfectly.
Yep.
But I understand why they did it with this, and I think it's just because they wanted to focus because we didn't see them, with Baylan and Shin the last episode. They wanted to heavily focus on them, and I was hoping for more background for Baylan, and that's what we got. And we got more background on a lot of people and a lot of stuff that I think was going in on it. So I'm okay with that. I don't need action every 2 seconds with it, but I definitely see where you're going with it. It was kind of a little stagnant a little bit with that, but I'm just happy we actually got the background for everybody.
I love it that you think that way, Kat. And I will tell you, if you take the time and you put a little effort into your live stream, not that I'm saying anybody else doesn't, but I do, things just flow perfectly because what did Kat just say? I liked that we got a little background on Baylan. It's almost as if she knows what the next slide is. Kat, please continue, my friend, because have I set this up for you so you can knock him down or what, girl? Go.
Just a little bit. I mean, come on. So, I loved this. I loved his little more interaction with her. I loved of how he described the planet. It's more, what is it, nightmares, and my notes are everywhere, but nightmares and whatever, crazy madness.
Madness, yeah.
Dreams and madness, sorry.
There you go. Yeah.
And then, but he's so into, these are the stories from, that he remembers and stuff like that. And then she's kind of like, well, stories can just be stories, which is true. But a lot of stories that have been passed down from generation to generation has some truth in them. It might be a little different because of who's telling that story. So their perception of it's going to be a little different, but it's still got some truth into it. And I feel like that with him because he's just kind of like, yeah, a story could be a story. And then he's just like, but I know there's so much more. And that gave it, like, it didn't fully give away everything, but it gave that extra mystery with him. And I love him every second he's on the camera. Like, I can't, honestly, if it was, I wish he was still alive so we could just have a show for him. Yeah. I would love, because he's amazing with this character. And I think he's such, like, he's just different. He's not like an Anakin and Vader character. He's kind of way more mysterious in it and stuff like that. So I wish we had more of characters like him. But yeah, I still loved the little scene between them.
You know what? I was just telling Pete, I was so frustrated that we were talk, and then we switched to some different talk about the people that I actually want to hear about. got exactly what I wanted. Pete, before I go over to you, apparently Dino has a previous career because Treasure Balls was his dancer name. Yeah, baby. I'd put a couple of tens in that G-string for sure. He's a good-looking man. Oh, there goes my. I'm never monetized.
Have started.
Yes, exactly. Man, it's going to be fun on the day when this isn't just water, if you know what I'm saying. So
we'll save that to the last show.
last episode, exactly. And then I love it. It's like I love Chris, but when you're our age, he just woke up in the middle of the show and went, "Ahsoka's traveling through hyperspace." It's good to see you, Chris. Yeah, all right,
Hey, Chris.
all right, yeah. Oh man. Anyway, let me get on down here, and then I'll head over to you. Oh boy. Okay. Man, I was gonna. Well, Chris, I hope everything's going okay, man. I'll
Yep, thinking of you, Chris.
Yeah, yeah, brother. Wow. Just keep it light. Treasure balls. Yeah, and I don't think there's any argument about it. They should have just named this series.
He
Bailey's
really is,
Gold.
Matt.
Yeah.
His acting just sucks you in, and I love it. And I'm super sad that he's not with us to continue this character. Like, come on, what? It figures we get a really cool character, and you're like, and this season will be all that you get.
Yeah.
But what a high note to leave on. So, you know what I mean?
Well,
if you're going to go out with a bang, holy crap, make it like amazing. And he did.
Mm-hmm.
Totally did. So.
Yep.
Thanks, Jonathan. I agree with Paul. The drawn out scenes of nothing happening, like Sabine and the Sabelle, Sabine taking to another cell, just kill the episode's momentum. Yeah. I'm like, come on, let's move it along. But Pete, more on he's talking about history and stories and the background here. Did you get a little bit of what you were hoping for as far as where he comes from and what his backstory is, or what'd you think?
Yeah, I like that. He was talking about temple like a good Jewish kid.
Yeah.
But the fact that we already talked about that these stories, these fairy tales, these bedtime stories, there is somehow a kernel of truth usually in those, and the fact that he's standing on Peridia now, it's like, holy cow. And I think he's trying to process and bring those stories back, because you hear so many of those type tales. Some of the details slip your mind as you get to be older, and you're like, oh, but secretly I was like, what is this extra power that he's sensing on this planet? Like, I really want to know more. And again, with his acting and the delivery of these lines, it just pulls you in, and you're like, you're hanging on every word and rewinding his dialogue, because he does not mince words. It's not wasted breath.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking love it.
I agree. And then, Chris is pointing out that I might not be the most sophisticated person on the planet for sure, because Chris is like, yeah, I'm really tired of all this plot interrupting the action. Yeah, that's fair, Chris. That's very fair. Oh, there's a VTR Dave in the house. It's always good to see
Dave and Camilla.
Yeah. Exactly. I always forget.
I was like, they didn't leave that far, ahead of the whales. Like, come on, just catch up. Like, it's, I'm thinking like a subway on that hyperspace route. Like, oh, how long does it, how much lead time did they really have? Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Matt, the best part about Balin Skull's exposition is he just doesn't spoon feed the audience. That's brilliant. I love that's a good way to put that. Mm-hmm. You really get some good hints to his motivation, because we're going to talk in depth about that towards the end when he starts really giving her an idea of why he's there. So, which I thought was very interesting. And let's see here. Josh pointed out something that I wanted to say before we go to the next slide, you guys, and that is here on our planet, almost every religion throughout time and almost every society has a flood myth. It's just different in some fashion, which leads you to believe all those stories, although interpreted in a different fashion, are talking about the same thing, just like he's doing here. And I thought that was very cool. So, all right, let's get out of fix that. And ta-da. Kat, we talked about this earlier. If she had moved this door, I was going to turn off the TV and quit. How about you, ma'am?
Like, I just kept saying, don't do it. 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 Like, I don't want her to. Like, that's great. I mean, she's trained with the dark saber. She's done other lightsaber training. That's great. She's an amazing Mando. She doesn't have the Force.
Right.
Go there. We get it now. Again, I know in some books and stuff like that, especially in a Thrawn book, there was a guy that was capable of moving like a cup for a little bit, after like 15 years of studying it. Let's just not. Okay, let's just call it a wash. She's fine. She's not force sensitive. Let's move along. And then I loved, because I was like, oh crap, is she moving stuff? Because you started seeing the rocks rattle and then some dust.
Yeah.
And thank goodness it wasn't her, but it was the Chimera. So I'm happy with that.
Exactly. Pete, I'm going to go to you, but I have to do this every time because it's how the world works. And Alan, my brother,
Alan.
it's always good to see you.
Alan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I can't help myself falling in love. Uh-huh. Pete, what were you thinking, especially as they started to do that fake out on us here, man?
What I was saying, I'm like, don't open that freaking cell door, so help me God. And I was like, yes, you still suck. Like, I want her to be broken and not like, voila, you're a Jedi. Hey, it's a Jedi.
Hey.
You know?
Hey, exactly.
And I like for that hot second that when the wall, you know, like she thought she was doing that for a hot second by her face. And then it was like, oh wait, I suck. That can't be, you know. And then, like, it's just building, and yeah, you get the arrival of the Chimera, which is like, just yes, give it to me.
Well, the heck with that, Pete. Let's stick with you. Give me all you got, man. What did you think when you saw this, brother?
I love that this thing is just beat to shit. I mean,
did you notice? If you listen closely, you can hear what
yeah. There's no metal on this planet. Like we're not fixing it. Patch it with, I don't know, some duct tape and some red, you know, Kinsey tape.
Yeah, kinesio tape. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
But you know, you got to see the damage is still there that the Purgle did to it in the finale of Rebels, where they're, you know, because the Chimera was bombarding Lothal, you know, relentlessly, and the Purgle came and crashed into her. So I like that this thing, again, it's not perfect. It's been through some stuff. It's seen some stuff, much like the Troopers.
Yeah, don't jump the gun, Pete.
I'm not jumping the gun.
I'm so excited. Exactly. I love it. I love Alan. Sir, you can't park here. Oh man.
The white zone is for immediate loading and unloading.
Right, exactly. Oh my God, Pete! If my wife leaves me, it's going to be for you now. If you keep talking like that. So she works at the airport, by the way, just so you know.
Oh no.
Yeah. I like that there's damage to it, unlike the Emperor, who just created what, like 300 Star Destroyers out of nothing in the sequel trilogy.
Right.
Thank you, Chris. Amen,
yeah,
man.
just
Yeah.
make it so.
Yeah. Pete, you can disagree with me, Kat, before we go over to you. I think the gold is what's underneath the white plating. Is that what you got from this? Kat?
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Pete.
I did, but he's drinking, so I'll go to you next.
Okay. So I think that ties in with, not to jump the gun too much, but with what we see with the Troopers, and there's a connection with that. So I think that's why we see the gold with there.
Okay.
But I do love see that they didn't fix it up. It kind of shows how much they've been struggling over these past 10 years with everything. So it's not just all shiny and new, and he was able to rebuild everything. It shows a lot of the struggle with it. And also, a shot that we don't have here is when he actually lands exactly where they're at with the Night Sisters. Amazing. I'm like, that's a port now? Okay. All right. Let's do that. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved that shot. So I thought that was pretty amazing with that. But yeah, I absolutely loved seeing all the damage still, and it kind of fractured. So.
Agreed. Now, Pete, to my original question, and I'm sorry, sometimes I go back and forth and it's really confusing because it's organized in my head, but not when it comes out. But Rick asks, Pete, where did all the gold come from? I got the impression that the gold is underneath that white plating and the white plating has come off. Is that what you were thinking, or did you get something else?
Honestly, I didn't process it that hard. I liked that it was just beat up. Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay. Well, Kat makes a good point, and we'll get to it later. We're going to keep alluding to it, but the stormtroopers, some of them have gold on them too, which
So are they scavenging it from other parts of the ship because it's
I
hope
available somewhere else? I don't know.
The work we go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are they mining it? I don't mind.
I see what you did. Oh God. I love my brother.
Jewels, didn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Somebody's going to say something about
again,
that.
I wanted to say where they're landing on that pillar, and you know this is the landing bay that the blockade runner was taken up into. You're like, oh, this is freaking brilliant, and you get a really good sense of what that bay looks like up close, and then as it gets, it's coming down, it's coming. You're like, oh my god, yeah. Again, all the hardscape of this, it's like, give me more. I love a good Star Destroyer.
Agree. And I, of course, my brother, who has my same sense of humor, he's like, if this was Paul's past life, he would have slapped an abandoned sticker on it and had it towed. That is not inaccurate, Alan. That is not inaccurate.
Bright pink.
Oh, there you go. Now, for background, maybe some of you don't know, Dave restores old toys. Yeah. Oh my God, need some hydrogen peroxide on that yellowing for sure, brother. Oh, look at Chris trying to start a fight. Best parking job ever. Clearly not done by a woman.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Chris, you go. That's what I'm talking about.
He's not wrong. He's
also brave.
Yeah, like, you want to die on that hill? Oh, all right.
Get out. I agree with you, though, Chris. Don't tell Cap.
Listen, females are crazy, okay? And then they're crazy drivers. I can admit it. It's fine.
Fair enough. Wizzy Wiz has snuck in on us. Good to see you, man.
What's up, Wizzy?
Hello.
Let me go on down through these really fast. Make sure we keep everybody. Yeah, everybody's jumping ahead on the Stormtroopers too, but we're not going to. I'm going to make you guys talk about other stuff.
Yep.
Nope. Both of you said something that I did not know. This thing has Dathomirian markings, kind of like Darth Maul on it, but this is apparently something from the cartoon. Kat, you mentioned that. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on here? And also, you can see more of the damage up here as well.
Yeah, so it's actually a chimera. So it's a serpent with spider legs tattooed on it, and you see it quite often in Rebels. And so I got super excited. The fact that they kept that, it made me so excited, because I was, again, things don't translate. You want them from the cartoon, the animation and all that to pull over. So it's just those little extra added details that you get excited for if you've watched Rebels.
And you know what else I love about this, though? I had no idea it was like that in Rebels. I just saw those and thought, Darth Maul has something to do with these people. That's cool. Pete, what did you get out of that, sir?
No, again, this was very cool fan service. If you liked Rebels, to see that done appropriately without having somebody like, oh wow, look at the markings on our ship, the Chimera. It still looks pretty good, eh?
Right.
No, it was just a nice, and again, this whole shot of it, over the pillar, and now it's going to start coming down. Oh, dude. It's like rewind, play again. Rewind, play again.
Yes. This whole 3-minute interlude here of the docking and what we get next, just absolute Star Wars at some of its best as far as the cinematics are concerned. I actually agree with you guys. Yeah. Rick, we're about to get there, because I have a theory, and I've been 1 for 1 on my theories so far, so hopefully I'll be 2 for 2. Pete, I'd like to stick with you. I don't think I need to say anything. I'm just going to put this up and let you go. Have at it.
Yes!
Yeah, Enoch. Yep.
This whole scene, so you quickly get that whole bay that's full of the stormtroopers, and they're all beat to hell. They've seen stuff either from damage done during the Lothal attack by the whales and jump into hyperspace, or just how rough this planet really is. Like, they've seen some stuff. They've been through some stuff. They're not just in their. It would have felt weird if they were just all brilliant white, like we know from Vader and the Emperor, and they're all quiet. I like that they, were chanting Thrawn.
Yeah.
So clearly we're getting cultish here, and they had to be to survive, I think, this world of Peridia. I also liked how they were lined up. You had like the commanders facing towards Thrawn as he was walking up, and then everybody else. Also the red that they're wrapped with kind of made me think, we also respect the witches like we know that they've got some serious power here, and I didn't take that so much as like a repair, but just as a, they're signaling that we're loyal to Thrawn and to the great witches that we've had to endure with like for this last decade. And I wanted
Please.
so the gold repair on the helmets that you see, Japanese custom of kitsugi. Where ancient Japanese repair pottery. Yep. Very cool.
Yep. Is this the kind of the same thing they did with Kylo Ren's helmet, right, Pete?
It does have that feel to it, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to talk a little bit on this one, but before we get to me, Kat, what were you thinking when you saw these guys?
So I loved when they were chanting throughout. So I watch all of it with subtitles because I don't want to miss things because they add, stuff with it. But I felt this whole series has been very on the nose with Japanese style themes, with the samurais and all that. And this was no difference with what Scuba just picked up how do you say it? How do you say that? I don't know.
Kinesio tape? Oh, Kitsugi.
No, not you, Paul.
Sorry.
But it goes with, them repairing, broken things is you don't hide your imperfections. You don't hide the flaws. You make them into something more. You just play them proudly. And I felt like that's what he did with this, everybody. He did this with this guy. He did it with his whole army. Hence why you see the red and you see gold throughout them is because they have been through so much crap with, Ezra taking them over. I think something that there's a reason why they want to get off the planet. They've been through so much in the past 10 years, so I love this little add-in. So to me, it just adds much more of what that style, that Japanese style that's been kind of a theme throughout the show. So I really liked that. And that guy instantly just made me think, okay, Roman soldier / gladiator. Like, who's this? Obviously, he's the head of something. Like he's going to be Thrawn's, right-hand man, which we do see. And I also think it's pretty interesting. I didn't notice any red on him. So I don't know if that's symbolizing him not being touched by Night Sisters, because I think the red also symbolizes they kind of got touched by Night Sisters. So I think that's kind of interesting. Is that maybe if he wasn't untouched, then maybe that's why he's also in that position of being, like, Thrawn could fully trust him because he had no part of being controlled by the Night Sisters or any influence from them. I don't know.
So one thing I noticed about his helmet just now while I was looking, this is not based off of a stormtrooper helmet. It looks like the, like the turbo tank or the transport trooper driver. Or the shore trooper, but there's those vents are at an angle, so it's obviously something that we haven't seen, which I thought was very cool. Okay, now, did you guys notice that we did not see anybody where are the rest of the officers? A ship this big needs a ton of lieutenants and ensigns and stuff. We've talked about this before. You don't see any of that, and I'm going somewhere with this. The chat is just losing its mind. A lot of people agreeing with me on this, and this is what's cool. So we see all these guys, and they're in this real far away place. Their armor's all torn up, and this and that and the other. I think a vast majority of these, if not all of them, are dead. They're those green warriors, Cat. Like that, when you cut them, they turn into like zombies and stuff like that. That's what I think is going. Now, there's a few in there that are still alive. I think this guy right here is from this planet. I don't think he came with them. I think he's one of the few people that's still alive as a real guy because his voice is all different and everything too. So here's the thing. I think most of them are dead. Most of these people, because they're also, the Empire's always been like a cult, right? But these guys are super cult and they're dead. So they're not really good at fixing the armor. And that red kinesio tape is how the magic is kind of conducted, I think, into them from the Night Sisters. And I think that's what's going on here, if you want me to be perfectly honest with you. And there you go. There's no red ribbons on Enoch, so I don't think he's dead. I think he's from this planet. Yeah, there you go. Matt says the same thing. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Apparently, this is some sort of social media trend right now, asking men how often they think of the Roman Empire. So, yeah. I just can't hit all of the comments in here where everybody is like, yeah, they're too much of a cult. I think that's what's going on here, you guys. And I hope that at some point in the future, we get to find out. So yeah, yeah.
They could be
my
all green
only thing
misty.
Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I would just they could be all green misty inside. Who knows? That would be a cool twist.
See, that's the thing is, but they don't necessarily have to be zombies or dead for that, because Asajj Apprentice wasn't a zombie, and when he was killed by the Emperor, he turned green. The green smoke came out. So I don't necessarily think that they all have to be. They probably are. I don't really want them to be,
Right.
but I don't think they all necessarily have to be, just because of that fact that Savage wasn't.
You know, that's a good point, Kat. Let me put a finer point on that. I don't think all of these guys. Because he mentions earlier later in the show we had a lot of losses, and I think everybody on that ship is standing in that cargo bay right there, except for maybe a skeleton crew upstairs, running the thing, and most of those are people that have either been resurrected like zombies or have been enhanced to stay alive long because they've run out of supplies. Even which we'll get to in a second here. Even their uniform of a guy who's pretty fastidious is messed up. So. Yeah. I think you're right, Kat. I think it's a combination of the both for sure. And this guy, this Enoch guy is definitely he's from here, and they just they cobbled together some armor for him to wear and put him in charge. So, but anyway, Pete, am I crazy? Is that a possibility? What do you think?
Oh, I think it's a good theory. Yeah,
excellent.
It's fun to think about, isn't it? I love like the chat's like all into it. Yeah, it's just
yeah.
Imagine that, having some fun with the Star Wars TV show. Get at it.
Right? Well, let's see here real quick. Chris said, did any of you read the Legends novel Death Troopers? I did not, but I know what it's about. Yeah. Very cool horror novel set in the Star Wars universe where stormtroopers bring a virus back to their starship and they die and are reanimated and stuff like that. So, yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I am saying I think he's one. No, he's not a Ninja Turtle, dude. You saw that there were scavengers that look. So, we'll get to those guys later. Hi ho. Anyway, but yeah, so I think that's what's going on. And Pete, you know me, as soon as we got all the stormtroopers and everything, I was like, oh, yeah, this is right up. I know you might find this hard to believe, but that's right up my alley. So, but I think that's what's going on. I would not have guessed
that about you, Paul. Yeah. I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, weird.
I'm pretty subtle. You know what I'm saying?
You are. Come out your shell a little bit.
Come out of your shell.
I see what she did there. She's doing it now too. Yeah. Oh God. Yes. You guys crack me up. But anyway, so I think that's what's going on. I was excited to see these guys, and I have a couple of extra Stormtrooper helmets that are going to get some gold and gray paint here as soon as the weather cools down a little bit for me to work in my garage without dying, and it's going to be awesome. So anyway. Kat, let's stick with you on this one, ma'am. What do you think?
I love hate.
Oh, do tell, please. Yes.
So I love that, the guy that did the voice of Thrawn in Rebels is there. I love it because, it makes you like, oh, it really is Thrawn and all that. I don't like watching this first through, I don't think he was commanding enough. Like when you watch or you read the book series, he's very commanding. Like you're at attention. It's kind of like with Balin. You don't mess with Balin and you're just like, oh my gosh, like he's such a presence. And I didn't really get that with him. So I don't know what's kind of throwing me off with it. And I partially what I've said to a few people is I kind of wish they did like what they did with Darth Maul. They had Ray Park stand in and then someone else do the voice. So I kind of wish they had somebody else stand in for him and then he just do the voice over. Because I just didn't get that like intimidating feeling. And I get it's been 10 years, but that's who he is to a core. He's not going to lose that, especially when his big thing is he's been waiting for 10 years to get the heck off of this planet. He's not going to lose that. That's just who he is. And we've seen that throughout the books, throughout the Rebels, like he wouldn't have lost that, I don't think, at 10 years. So I'm kind of disappointed with it. I mean, he was still good because it at least had his voice, so little nostalgia that, but I'm not 100% sold on his.
For me, I talking about pot calling kettle black, but the fit of his uniform is what threw me off a little bit. I mean, I thought he'd be, anyway. Pete, what did you think of what we got from this Thrawn?
Same. I love that this is Lars, his voice, but him as an actual physical actor in this role, no. And it's just like Hera. I'm like, it's just off. I'm like the whole like chia head wig.
Oh yeah.
And the features of the face. I mean, if you go back and watch Rebels, like at least do some more prosthetics, give it a little more feel to it. But I agree. I think they could have easily just had somebody else a little more commanding play him and use Lars's voice to deliver the lines, because that was solid. I mean, that's you close your eyes and you're like, yep, that's exactly like Rebels, the cadence. But he didn't really. It looked like look, we've been on a diet, all right. I've lost a little bit of weight. The uniform's a little saggy. It's a little dirty where I had some lunch on it. But yeah, I just, again, like Hera, it's just enough off to drag you out of the story and go,
I think part of it too was his walk. Like he had kind of like this sway. And with Thrawn walking in Rebels, he was very tall. He had his like kind of hands behind his back, but he was very he didn't have a weird swagger type thing. It like threw me off a little, because that's not commanding. Like I said, Baylan has been commanding nonstop. When he's in the room, you pay attention. I mean, his apprentice even does that when she's like, okay, yeah, sure, master. She listens. You do what you're told. That was lacking for me, and I think that's a huge miss for Thrawn, because he's not like that.
So you guys just schooled me on something. Lars Mikkelsen did the voice in the animated series?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. I agree with you then,
So
Kat.
like what he said, you close your eyes, it's perfect. You can hear it, but it's just I really wish they would have done a Ray Park, switch with like Darth Maul, like what they did with him.
Yeah, that would have been better, I think. I think you're right. Although Dave makes a good point. At this point, he's unhinged. He doesn't need to look commanding anymore. But Kat says, he never would have given it up. So it just depends on what you were expecting. And then, of course,
be dirty because it's been 10 years. That's fine. But I don't think as himself, he's still leading. Look how many people he's leading, though. You know what I mean? Like, his goal is, I have to get back what I lost. Again, they refer to him heir to the Empire. He's got to get back. He's not going to lose himself totally in those 10 years. I don't feel like.
He's like, get me the hell off of this planet.
Okay. Pete, I just noticed something. Your audio is coming from your laptop, not your mic.
Oh.
Yeah. Because Weird. It didn't change when you did this. So, and I thought it sounded different. Yeah. Well, I'm not cutting that and using it next time. That's for sure. Just kidding. So just so you know, when you go to restart, you might want to look into that real quick. But I love what my brother says, though. I've only seen him briefly in the cartoon, but he looks cool to me. But I'm a filthy casual. Yeah, get your opinion out of here, Alan. No one's interested in what you have to say. Pete, let's start with you this time, my friend. The interaction between Thrawn and Sabine, where she's just like talking to her father or something, like just get to the point and stuff like that. Is this true to life from what we saw in Rebels? And what did you think of this interaction?
Wait, say that again, because I was changing my mic. Is this working now?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, now it's working. Okay. Yes, you sound much more commanding, not like the Thrawn we got in the show, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway.
Get me the hell off this planet.
There you go. It sounds like you're in my head when you do that. Yeah, that's wild. But no, during this interaction, when she's talking to Thrawn, I was kind of surprised. I mean, she gets all sassy and she's just short with him and she's like, just get to the point and whatever, this, that, and the other. And where is he? Is this true to what we saw in Rebels? And what did you think of this interaction?
Yeah, definitely. The numerous run-ins that they've had with Thrawn all throughout Rebels. Yeah, she's like, oh, for God's sakes. Yeah, you've been gone for 10 years. Just cut the crap. You know I am here. And that's where I liked, Thrawn was, look at his posture. Again, he should, because that's how he would always talk to them, like he is well above them. And I've got you figured out 5 moves ahead. Mm-hmm. You have no idea what you're even doing. And I already know what you're going to do 5 steps from now. But yeah, that interaction, yep, spot on with Rebels.
Oh, okay. Really quick, there's Crazy 8. It's good to see you again.
Hi,
Crazy.
Crazy.
Kat, do you agree with Pete's assessment of this interaction between the two, and what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was spot on with her, and I really I because I got pulled out a little bit from his, his walking and stuff like that. It pulled me right back in when he kind of told her, he goes, "There's no need for hostility," and he says it in that calm, irritating voice of because she's so into her emotion, and he's just like calm and methodical, and so that brought me. I was like, okay, that's the Thrawn we know from Rebels, and everything like that. So I really enjoyed that, and the fact is he's like he already said, he's already thinking 5 steps ahead. He sees how he said the singular focus she has is going to reshape our galaxy. Absolutely, because she completely just screwed everybody else. And then wait till Ezra finds out. Yay!
Ooh, boy, that
My
exchange towards
sacrifice
the end
meant
was
nothing.
awkward.
Thank you.
Let's not
Okay.
talk about it, okay?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I did like that interaction with them, and like I said, it brought back more of his calculating self. And then she even kind of said, like, you don't understand the emotion. Well, to an extent he doesn't, but that's also he does, because that's how he was so calculating in Rebels, is because he knew people so well. He studied them. He knew what would trigger them. Just like when, and I forget what it's called, but with Hera's family, I don't want to say totem, but that little wood thing.
like
Oh,
a
yeah.
totem.
Is it a totem?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know it has a specific name. I just can't think of it right now. But he knew by taking that from her and her family what that meant to her.
Yep.
How he knew that would draw her back. So he does understand emotions to a degree. I think other parts of it he's kind of like, yeah, I don't really care. But I think he does, because that's what makes him so calculating.
Wow, Kat, that was good. Apropos of nothing, I just figured it out, Pete. The black hole. You remember when they have all those people on the ship, the Disney movie, The Black Hole, and they realize that's what I'm trying to get at. They're like, there you go. It's the former crew, but he's had to do Disney black hole stuff to keep him like that.
They're like,
yeah, exactly. And there's
Where's
a couple of them that
Maximilian?
are people. Yes, there you go. Okay, thank you. I don't know why while I was listening to Kat, that just popped into my head. That was awesome. Thank you, Kat. Man, you're reminding me of stuff you're not even talking about. This is great.
Yay!
Yeah. Well, Kat, you know what? Let me just stick with you for just a second here. I love that they give her this thing that looks like it actually does come from Lord of the Rings, and he goes, "Die well, go."
I love that part. I love that. I was like, that's awesome. Yeah, it totally made me think of in Two Towers with the Warg Riders, the animal-like things. I love that it was more of like a dog. But I absolutely loved this part. I was like, that's awesome. So we finally get her to like go out, but yeah, I loved his line with "Die well." That's great. That also I think kind of speaks to who he is as, what is he, a captain or whatever he is?
Captain of the Guard.
Yeah, captain of the guard. So yeah, I loved every second of that.
And once again, his voice and the way he says this is one of the reasons that leads me to believe he's from here. He knows what she's going out into, even though they've been there for 10 years. And he's like, yeah, have at it, sister. Why do you think I'm on this ship outside all that crap? Bye. Pete, first of all of what I just said, but second of all, if my theory about these guys is right and the Kinesio tape is what kind of channels the magic, this dude with her right here is dead. He's got it all on, brother. What you got?
yeah.
I was hungry like the wolf. Hungry like the wolf.
Oh, you're gonna get me started on Duran Duran. I used to think I was John Taylor. That's a long road we can go down, bro. We don't want to do that. So, what you got, man?
What was the command? Like Dudo in the wolf's like, oh, I gotta sit.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Duda. Are you happy to see that this? I thought they were gonna give her like a broke down speeder bike. Did you prefer this though?
I really enjoyed how they CGI'd this wolfy dog.
Wolfy
very
dog,
believable. Yeah. I like the attitude that they gave him that we get to see a little more of later. Yeah. Good stuff.
Michael. So Bailey used to talk about this all the time. Another Filoni wolf.
Yes, we know Filoni loves the wolves.
Exactly.
Also a big Duran fan.
I kind of was also thought it was a little foreshadowing, because if they said how dangerous the planet is,
Mm-hmm.
an animal is going to alert to that first versus you just riding a speeder. So
Yeah.
I kind of felt like, oh, okay, she is going to get attacked in this, because you don't know, how they've been going. It's been kind of like a lull with the action and stuff like that. So I kind of felt like, oh, yep, that definitely means she's going to get attacked.
Fair enough. I thought it was cool too, because like I said, I thought speeder bike, but then that showed up. I'm like, oh, cool. We're gonna Lord of the Rings this or whatever. That's gonna be great.
Yep.
Let's see what Matt has to say here. For Paul, Vorksneer were, oh, thank you. He's going to, definition time. Vorksneer were predators in the Heir to the Empire novel that hunted using the Force. They were aggressive towards Mara Jade. So I've read some of those books with Thrawn, but, like I said, I don't remember a lot of it. But anyway. So Pete, was it a dangerous planet though? Was it? Dave's got a point. Okay, it wasn't really, a bunch of half-asses with samurai gear on and the Seven Dwarves. But we'll get to that, Dave. You got a good point though, brother. Pete, I'd like to start with you on this one, my friend. I specifically got this part of this shot for two reasons. Number one, I want to talk about the scheming and scamming that's going on, because now Thrawn says, hey, go out there and kill her and Ezra. And I love that Shin looks at him like, are you for reals with this shit? Still? Seriously? Pete, what you got, man?
Yes. So again, great Thrawn that he's, a couple steps away of where Sabine, like, we know she's going to find Ezra. So, like, just coincidentally, why don't you just go out there and kill them both? And they're like, oh, damn, he's cold. He's calculating.
Yeah.
I took it kind of as like Balin's, like, if he's some foreshadow, if he's willing to just snuff them out, he don't really know us. We're kind of new to this Thrawn party. We're gonna do as we're told, but let's watch our backs.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a little shocked because I thought this was even too far for Balin. It's a bridge too far. And then later on, I think I realized why he agreed. But Kat, first of all, what did you think of what's going on here, especially Shin Hati going, how much longer? And what do you got?
That's been kind of like her theme throughout. She's just like, what? Are you kidding me? And he's like, no, it's fine. Calm down. Type thing.
Right.
But his eye acting in this episode has just been amazing, because it's just been little things, like a little smirk here, or he gets really intense for a second, and this is no different. Like, he's kind of surprised a little bit and then just kind of like keeps it to himself, because also too, I forgot to mention is when he met Thrawn knew exactly, oh, who are you? And he's like, oh, Balin Skull, and he goes, oh, General Balin Skull.
General Balin Skull.
That speaks to how Thrawn knew everybody in Rebels and that kind of stuff. So I think that also kind of like took him back a little bit. Like, oh, so I think he's on guard with that. He's like, okay, now we're switching it up, because he's also going through what he needs. The whole reason why he came. And now this extra stuff, Thrawn knows who I am. He knows probably more than I think he does. So I think he's just kind of playing it safe of like, okay, I'll do what I'm told for now.
And then,
can I just say, please. I want to know what the background says with I used to know, I used to be able to read and write ancient hieroglyphics, Egyptian hieroglyphics. I want to know what it says on the wall, and it bothers me that I can't translate it. Just throwing that out there. It bothers me that I can't translate it.
Okay.
So I want to translate it, but I can't.
Hold on. Yeah, we're not going to just skip right over that. This
just in.
Yeah, rewind a second here. Kat, you used to read and write ancient hieroglyphics?
Yeah, so I learned it in school, and then I loved it, so I just kept up with it. So I was able to read and write ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Yeah, I still have one of my books on it. I got rid of a lot of my other stuff, but I still read it every once in a while. I was like, oh yeah, that's what that means. But I've forgotten most of it. But I used to
That's
write
awesome.
letters in it and that kind of stuff. Like I have no life, but but I was looking into it, and I was like, oh, that's why I can't. So I looked at why I can't translate it, but because it's a new language that predates the Sith. Which we know theirs is very ancient, and then it also has it because a lot of the characters, and we even see it on, the credits at the end. We couldn't translate them but some of them look familiar is because some of that is actually from Ralph McQuarrie's doing, and some of his stuff that he kind of did. So it's kind of this whole new thing, but I can't translate it on my own yet.
Are you saying there's a Stargate somewhere around here?
Maybe.
I can ask for a beer in Spanish.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I took Spanish.
Right?
We used to read and write Egyptian hieroglyphs.
I'm just saying, it's just every time I see it, that's why I focus on trying to translate, because I want to know what it says. I'm interested. I like doing this because I used to. So
just
Kat
when you think you know a gal,
right? Kat has forgotten more about Star Wars and cool stuff than I ever knew. Good Lord.
20 something odd years of marriage. I just learned the other day Leslie can play a trumpet, and I'm like, what? Where did that come from? Like, yeah.
Always
there you go.
Mystery.
Wow. I know what we're doing on our next live stream, that's for sure. Check really quick. This is why I love having Chris around. FYI, in Dungeons & Dragons and most role-playing games, necromancers use cloth ribbons to maintain control of the dead. I'm going to be right again. I'm going to be right again. You watch. I'm kind of a badass like that. I'm always right. Just let me have it. I'm not hurting you.
You're playing D&D.
Yeah, I've never even done that paper game up. Yeah. Let me come on down here really quick because the chat has been off the chain. Oh yeah, there you go. That I think that sums it up for all of us, Dino. You can read that. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And we did eventually translate some of the credits, as I understand it, for sure. But yeah, that's really cool, Kat. That's really cool to hear. Like I said, I can order a Spanish beer and find the bathroom. How about that? That's
more than I
right?
can. Yeah. I don't know any Spanish.
Well, I live in Arizona. If you don't speak Spanish, you're not talking to too many people.
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, there you go. Or Dave. It could just be the teenagers that have drawn their private parts all over that wall too, Kat. You just don't know. Oh man, Kat, you continue to prove to me what an excellent idea it was to have you on here. Thank you so much, ma'am. I appreciate it. You know what? But I'm going to give Pete a chance to talk for a second here, if you don't mind. Pete, we got a lightsaber battle, Shinobi Warriors. What do you got, bro? Tell me what's going on and what you thought of this.
Yeah, clearly we had that foreshadowing of die well, and I'm like, oh, we're getting in trouble. Good. Yep. We're not gonna play Ichabod Crane riding for a long time and then way too long time. Like we got into the thick quick. Thank God she was wearing her Beskar armor to take those blasts. And I'm sure these guys were like, what the what? You should be dead. What But yes, I like the fact, again, we're going Japanese. These guys have spears and swords, very cool. And she's like, oh, you guys like swords? Check out this sword. And the one blast that she bounces off and the guy takes it right in the noggin, I was like, oh, delicious.
Right? I love that he looked confused, like, what is this greeny laser sword thing? And wow, yeah.
Yeah. I also like that her Wolfie, was sniffing them out ahead of time. Do you smell something, boy? Right. Like the Tauntaun. He's like,
got that.
Something bad's happening. Mm-hmm. Yep. Good. Good scene.
Unlike the Tauntaun, though, he didn't stick around. He just took off, Pete.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yipe.
Yeah, you deal with him. Kat, I'm getting a little action now. Finally, what you got? What did you think of this, ma'am?
She is so much better as a Mando than a Jedi. I mean, right? And I mean, you would expect that, but she's outnumbered. She's kicking butt. A few close calls and stuff. But like Pete said, she what's her little thing?
Oh yeah, the grapple.
The heart, whatever. Yeah, the grapple, and then she's blocking it, taking them all out. Oh no, I have no more weapons, or do I? It was a little stagnant, a little few parts of it, but I expect that from she hasn't been training for how many years, that type of stuff. So I expect that, but she still held her own. And then I do love the fact that the one guy was like, oh, okay, I give up, I'm running away. So he takes off. But no, I like that little bit. And again, listen to your animals when you're out with them. They sense and smell things that you can't. So pay attention. And I felt like she was a little irritated with him a little bit. Like, what are you doing? Like, really? Hello, he's a live animal on a dangerous planet. Listen. But,
Exactly.
Yeah, where'd you go? And he's like,
Right.
"Oh, you know."
Yeah. And like, that was my favorite part of the fight though, Rick, because the guy's like all confused, like, how did you just do that? You know, and then Phil, it was awesome.
yeah.
That was hilarious. So at least at this point, you guys, we're starting to get the wipes back and forth now, because we're still seeing what's going on in the ship and with Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati, and we're seeing what's going on with her. So, Kat, they do jump back here, and here's where we realize the depth of Thrawn's treachery, because am I correct? Is this the type of character he is? Because I didn't get a lot of him in the Rebels, but now he's like, you know, the heck with the mercenaries too. They can just stay out there. What did you think of all this, and is this right?
Yeah, because he always ended up having a goal. Like, certain things would come out that he wasn't expecting, but he was still calculated about it. And now, I mean, he's been on this planet for 10 years, and he really wants to leave. Why? He said, you know, that they've lost a lot of people, because she said, you know, because this was at that point where she's like, shouldn't we send out more people? Because he said have 2 squadrons ready. And he's like, look, we've taken hits. So why are they so desperately trying to leave the planet? What's happened? You know, so I kind of thought with that. But again, he has no love for the Jedi either. He has no, because of Ezra. I mean, the ups and downs, look what Ezra did to him. He doesn't trust them. You know, he told them about, you know, with Ahsoka, oh, I thought she would, you know, I was assured she's dead. You can't underestimate the Jedi. The fact that Baylan was a Jedi and a general, you can't trust that. So he's putting them all in the same boat. No, because he even said he's flawed. That's how we have to look at him now, is he's flawed. So I think he does still show a lot of that in Rebels, or from Rebels. He's still very calculated, and now he's just like, I'm cutting my losses. I don't trust them. So yeah, good luck to that.
Wow. Pete, what did you think of what's going on here, sir?
Yeah, I like that he's immediately back to his singular focus, which is get me the hell off of this planet.
Right. Yeah.
You know, earlier it was basically like he's not even bothered that Ezra's on the planet. He's like, oh yeah, he's out there somewhere. Like, who the hell cares? You know, go find him. Fine. It'll just make my cleanup of this situation that much easier. I like that he's also tells her, by the way, why don't you blast those Purgles, any that show up? You know, we don't need Ahsoka showing up to, you know, muddy the water here. But yeah, classic Thrawn. He can roll with changes, but he's still keeping that singular focus on what he wants to do and not letting others influence that to any great extreme.
Agree. And people are alluding to it in the chat, so I'll just pick G-Force just because it's the easiest one. But a couple of people have said something like this, and we get more of this towards the end. It looks like we got 3 factions now. We've got, you know, Baylan and Shin. We've got the Empire Remnant and the Night Sisters, and we've got Ezra and Sabine. And not everybody is on everybody's team. And Baylan seems to be almost as clever, if not more clever, than Admiral Thrawn at this point. So I'll be interested to see. But we'll talk about that here in a few minutes, because there's a specific part where he actually mentions it. So, yeah, here we go. No one's going to be left behind with Uber Whales, though, so it'll all be fine. Pete, I'd like for you to start off on this one, because it was very coincidental. I see your cat running around in the background. So I got a kick out of the interaction between these two. What did you think, man?
Yeah, the fact she's walking post battle, and then he's like, "I'm gonna catch it. Get the heck out of here!" You know, and he's like, "Fine, I'll go." And I'm like, 1, 2, 3. Oh, here he comes again. And I'm like, "Good boy." Yeah. See, some of the acting in this has been, but I think the CGI'd wolf in his acting is really good.
Right, I agree. Yeah. So this is the first comedic relief we've had in a little while. We've had a lot of tragedy. Appropriately placed, to the right degree, right level. Could we have needed more, or was this too much?
No,
Pete?
I think it was just right. Yep. Didn't oversell it. And we continued on our quest.
Agree. Kat, is Pete high, or do you agree with his assessment?
I mean, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, that's a different kind of question. But
Okay, yeah.
I agree with him. I think it was great. It's a loyal giant dog.
Mhm.
I
Right,
mean,
yeah,
that's what
right.
you do. You scold the dog. They're like, "Oh no," and they try to hide, but they're like, "Wait, master, I gotta come with you. We're together. Don't leave me." You know.
It's like Doug.
But
I've just met you and I love you.
yes, exactly, definitely, Doug. Yep. No.
I just met you and I love you. That is so dog, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so what about 3 months ago? We just we rescued a pit bull mix. She's a little bit younger than the ones we normally get, and we go into the rescue. I sit down, they let her out, and she runs right over to me like, "Where have you been? I missed you!" Like that's what this reminded me of. Like, I've never even met you before. She's licking me in the face, going, "Let's go, you're late."
Yeah.
It was awesome. Yeah,
Totally.
yeah. Chris, I love you, brother. Let's see. I'm sure I missed it earlier in the discussion, but yes, it was there. The rings around the planet were whale bones. We did touch on that. Some of the best cinematography in all of Star Wars, specifically this show. What do you guys think? Am I right?
Agreed. Yeah, that was striking.
Absolutely.
No bones about it.
Yeah. Don't think it's
Yep.
Pete.
It does.
It-
It does act like a dog.
Kat, please tell me you
Yeah.
cut. You cut. Okay, yeah, all right. You know the funny thing is, I hear it in my headphones, and it rattles around in my head, and then it pops against my frontal lobe, and I'm like, your bones. Yeah, okay, all right.
Kat just ignores it like Leslie
Yeah,
does. She's immune.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
bounces
exactly.
off.
Yeah, you can tell Kat has a son. She's heard it all. She's like, yeah, moving right along, So
I have an older brother, and I was around his friends. You just gloss over it.
that'll do. Yeah, right. Just move right along. Exactly.
Anyway.
Oh, okay. Rick says it's actually a horse with added CGI from filming photos. Interesting. I did not know that. Okay. So I'm trying to decide, Kat, on this horribly dangerous planet that the stormtroopers like go out and die. And in the aesthetic, I'm trying to decide what I think of this. Will you help me, ma'am? What do you think of all this?
Turtles are totally dangerous, so right? I mean, this is obviously before their training. No, I thought they were very cute, like hermit crab / turtle things.
Hermit crabs. I get it now. Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And also, when I watched it again, it kind of looked like I don't know if this is true or not, but it looks like it has a strap. So I don't know if those rocks are actually attached to them or not. But I swear, a few times when I watched it, it's just off to the side. There's just a little brown thing that would not move, kind of like with his clothing. So I took that as, is it strapped to him? Is that just like a way to camouflage to hide out from enemies?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the thing or not. But yeah, I kind of was like, oh, they're hermit crab / turtles. But I thought they were cute. Star Wars is very known for little cutesy things, little cute creatures. So I didn't mind them. I liked that they couldn't understand each other, because you're an alien planet. It's not Star Trek. You don't have a language.
Universal translator.
Yeah, translator. You're just trying to figure it out. So I liked that little part. I did, and I think it's hilarious that her dog was trying to eat it. So very classic dog. Oh, I'm hungry. Let's play with it.
Yes. Let me pick this up and put it in my mouth. Yeah, it's like
exactly.
I love Chris and Rick are both like, all right, these are cool and cute, and we both love them. Awesome. How do they get their clothes on around the shells, unless it's like Kat says, and they just wear them as clothes as well? So yeah,
That's what I'm saying. I think it's like an attachment, like that's where they can hide it, be unnoticed.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, we get it. Here we go. It's all the connections. Move over, Greg. Yeah, Matt.
Hey, Rick, calm down.
Koopa Troopas.
Let's not go that far. Let's not go that far. Okay.
So I was just, I wanted her to put on some red overalls and a cap and start jumping on them.
Boing, boing.
Yeah, exactly. Michael, hermit crabs,
think of
just
that.
like yeah. Oh, here you go. Someone said Koopa Troopers. Now I can't see it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh no.
And then of course, Dave on this dangerous planet. Exactly. Now that we've gone through all of that crazy stuff, that sums it up exactly, Chris. Exactly. LOL. Pete, what did you think of the Koopa Trooper hermit crabs here? And is this a little over the line?
Heroes in a half shell.
No, I thought it was a cool addition. I quite enjoyed that they were just this small scale alien. They weren't like, okay, we're going to take some human beings and dress them up as another alien and they'll be the same size. Like, you know, to cut costs, we'll just, put a giant rock on. No, I thought that was a really cool thing. I think it does speak to the dangerous side of this planet that they need that shelly rock to disguise themselves in a hurry, to just hunker down till whatever danger that we don't know about has passed. But yeah, it's clearly, showing that scale off. But, you know, we represent the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild. Follow the Yellow Brick Road. You know,
They probably taste good, exactly.
they're probably, getting some escargot vibes, Dave. I get it. You know, some garlic and butter. Tasty.
Exactly. Yeah. I love Michael's like, they're like the white trash of the planet. They're riding around in trailer park.
They were in the little trailers, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was cool. But, you know, again, you touched on it. The fact that they really couldn't communicate. It was like, yes, there's, you know, instead of, oh, you're new to the planet. And be like, what? How? No. Oh, Ezra? Yeah, he lives the third trailer over. Come on, I'll show you. You know.
Third trailer over, right? Yeah. I like the way that they got over that because that's why I picked this slide. He's pointing at her rebel symbol, and that's you know, so that was believable. Like, oh, that was
cool. Yeah, a symbol over language. Yep.
Yep.
Dink, dink. Yeah.
Dink, 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 dink. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. When they led Sabine to the camp, I thought of yogurt. Dink, 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 dink. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. When I saw this, all I could get was hi ho, it's off to work. You know, anyway. So. We could just go on about that for hours. Oh man, but okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you guys like those because
it's a cool little world building moment there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're on, like you said, they're a caravan. Like, oh, we don't stay in any one place all that long.
Mm-hmm. That's what sold it. I'm like, okay, they don't just sit there. Why hasn't anybody attacked them? Because at least they're smart enough. All right, I'll take it. Yeah, so, because I was like, the Jawas made sense to me in Star Wars. You know what I mean? The Ewoks, whether you liked them or not, made sense. These guys, I was like, all right, they're wearing clothes and they're in shells and they're on a dangerous planet. But you guys have convinced me. It's a good part of the show. So.
Well, and it goes with what Thrawn said. We'll give you the last known coordinates that we had of Ezra. And since he's traveling with them, that makes more sense of, well, if you knew where he was, well, it's because he moves around a lot. So. Oh,
good point. Yeah, which would lend us more credence to why he hasn't eliminated him. First of all, who cares? Second of all, he's moving around too much. That makes sense.
Right.
I love it.
Can we also talk about the fact that, you know, Woofy's hungry? And so that's what he's sniffing out. Like, hey, I'm going to eat you because I need some lunch.
Right. Yep. Yeah, there you go. And apparently he likes seafood. So yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh my God. Which leads me to my dogs again. The best way to teach those dogs to do anything is with treats. I could teach that new one downstairs to speak Latin or interpret Egyptian hieroglyphics with enough food. So
you just need a bell and some treats.
Exactly. Oh my God. It's a Pavlov.
Scooby snack.
Yeah, right. Would you do it for free, Scooby snacks? Yeah. Kat, I love the look on your face when Pete and I flat because you're like, well, you guys get back on topic for God's sake.
No, it's not that at all. I have something in my eye.
Oh, okay. That's the excuse my wife
irritating
uses.
Me.
Yeah, I appreciate. Yeah.
Yeah, I got something in my eye.
Yeah, we're irritating.
Yeah, we're on screen and we're irritating. It's in our eye, Pete. Exactly. Yeah.
Keep it together.
All right.
No, you're fine.
I know.
Wait, we can just, you know, we could always just go to our little camera pucks.
Yes,
you know, to look at it.
Yeah. But I'm too much of a narcissist for that, Pete. I do this whole stream just so I can see me once a week on TV. So, Kat, now that you've put up with this, I will reward you with allowing you to go first on this one. I have a theory. Well, actually, I kind of have a theory. It's not a complete one. But he's talking about a power greater and more imaginable. All right, first of all, what do you think of the interaction between these two at this point? Because they're really developing these two characters better than anybody on the show. Number two, what's going on in Balin's head and why? Because he's up to something.
So I love their interaction. I think they have great chemistry. I think they work well together. They're written well together. So, and we've seen that throughout the whole series. We want more of them together because they just work. With Balin, I love seeing more inside of like what he's thinking, like even her just asking, did you miss it? All this kind of stuff. And I think it kind of gave us a peek of really what his issues are, because I think it also so. Let me go back to it. Hold on. So with him saying that, he missed the idea of it, which is he missed the idea of the order. Well, what were the Jedi supposed to be? They never should have been in the Clone War. They never should have been that, right? They were supposed to have order. They were supposed to have, peace and justice. That's what their legacy should have been. And not this, fighting and everything like that. Because that's basically what they come to know is Jedi, no violence. That's it. And I think you really see that is he wants away from that. And he even said several times that, something's pulling him, something bigger. Because she even made a comment like, well, with, a few shots ago, like, with Thrawn's help, finally, are we going to have that power? And he's like, no, I'm not talking about that. So for me, I got that is he's trying to bring back what the Jedi originally were, what they should have always stayed been, and bringing that true kind of balance. There shouldn't have, and any time, I kind of see like Anakin really broke his beliefs. Like when he was fighting with Ahsoka, he was so angry because you focus on Ahsoka and how she's reacting. But I watched that episode again, and he is so angry when he talks about Anakin and her when they're fighting. And I think it's because and he talked about it before, he didn't know what was happening when he was younger, seeing the Jedi Temple being destroyed and all that kind of stuff. So I think it just really broke him. And so he kind of is trying to find a new path of saying, I kind of took it as, we don't need Jedi, we don't need Sith. Because obviously he hates the Sith because of Anakin turning into Vader and the Empire. He has no love for that. He's never hid that from anybody. He doesn't claim to be a Jedi himself. I think he's seeking, how do I have this, as long as we always have Jedi and Sith, we're always going to have this conflict. He keeps bringing up, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Him and Ahsoka fighting, it's inevitable, because that's what they've been trained to basically do. And I think he's trying to find how to basically wipe that, try to go back to the beginning with it.
Wow. That's, instead of being so binary, let's try and mix this. Pete, I'm going to go over to you and ask you the same question and tell me what you think is going on, but really fast. Chris has an excellent question here. Do you think during Order 66, Anakin actually interacted with Baylan? Kat, do you think they interacted, or did he just know him from his popularity?
You mean like when it was happening?
Yeah.
If you look at the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, we see, what was her face's name again? I always forget it. The main chick, she was literally saw Anakin
Reva
come into the Jedi temple and kill her. I mean, she got slashed by him. So it could be. He definitely could have saw that, but the way he kind of was talking about seeing the Jedi temple burn, that kind of makes me feel like he wasn't exactly in the temple, but he got to see kind of everything through it.
Pete, what say you, my friend? And Chris actually adds a little bit of detail. Yeah, I mean, like when Anakin entered the temple and started killing people, Baylan would have been about 20 or 30. Do you think they actually interacted, or just does Baylan just know him from legend, basically?
It's an interesting thought. I took it also the fact that he watched the temple burn, meaning that either he was there and quickly got out, as we know many have. I don't know. Very cool. But I clearly he's got zero love. Sorry. Clearly he's got zero love for the Jedi and the Sith. That whole history is destined to repeat itself. We just keep cycling, and it's like, nope, there's something bigger out there, and it's calling to me. I think that he's, we've got Ezra, who's been parked on this planet for a decade, that's a Jedi. Baylan's not going to kill him. I think Baylan's like, look, I actually need your help. There's something here. I know you've sensed this. Like, help me with this, and try to sell it to Ezra as, come on, let's kind of rebalance the scales here, because we're just, what are we doing? Light, dark, and Baylan's like, great. I don't think he's going to listen to Thrawn at all. You know, go kill him. He's like, as long as I ain't hanging around you, so that I get killed. Okay, yeah, you know, it's safer to be away from you. And yeah, Balin, I don't think he wants to leave this planet. There's clearly a bigger calling here.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of things really fast. First of all, there's Tim over at Boss Bounty.
Hey, what's up, Tim?
Tim, always good to see you. Evening, Paul, Scuba, Cat in chat. That rise. He's been watching the Scuba Pete Dad Joke Show. It's good to see you, Tim. So Matt says something here that Thrawn referred to him as General Skull, so I doubt he was one of the kids in the temple, because the kids, as I remember, were called Commander, the younger ones, like Ahsoka during that. I think when he says he saw the temple burn, I'm not even sure he was on Coruscant when it happened. He may have seen it on hollows and stuff like that. I think as soon as he realized what was going on, he got away from his troops, took his apprentice with him, or picked her up afterwards, and shoot, he was out of there. So I don't think they've ever actually interacted. I think he just knows Darth Vader and Anakin from seeing him around. That's my thought. But Pete, I want to get back to what you said. Kat, actually, you were going to say something. Go ahead. And what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to ask, were you asking, because I was a little confused, were you asking if him and Anakin ever had known each other, or is it only during Order 66? I got a little confused. Is what you were asking, Paul. So, because I know, because they've said that he, you know, Anakin has told him about Ahsoka and that kind of stuff. So I know they do know each other, but just not. So I was just asking what you're asking, just clarifying.
Yeah, I was just repeating Chris's question, and I think if you just wanted to whittle it down to its base elements, did they did they bump heads at any point? And he may have seen him in passing. They may have talked, you know, seen each other in the temple. But I don't think after Order 66 started, I don't think he's run into him since. I think he just into the okay. Pete, back to you. That was going to be my next question that I was going to ask you to put a finer point on it, and you kind of did. He's out here. He's got a plan. He's up to something. And you think that he's trying to join with Ezra and rebuild something? What is he trying to do when he joins with Ezra?
Not necessarily join Ezra, but use Ezra to his bigger goal. Yeah, but you know, Ezra is going to be this force sensitive compass. Like, come on, you've been here, you know things. Give me the scoop, give me the skinny. And Ezra's like, I want to go back with my friends, and he's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to stop you. You know, what do I care? You want to go take on Thrawn again? Because he's about ready to leave on the number 3 bus. So. You know, you got time. Like, he's like, that's all part. Again, you guys are just perpetuating the same old, you know, back and forth, yin and yang. And he's like, nope, I'm going to stick here for something much, much larger.
So I hate to keep. So Balin, Pete, is he trying to not become the Emperor, but is he trying to become the head dude in charge, but not quite as evil as the Emperor, but not as ridiculously stupid and idealistic as the Jedi, something in between, so that we can truly bring peace, which we know doesn't end up happening. But is that what he's trying to do, Pete?
I think so. I mean, that obviously power is intoxicating, but for him, to have been betrayed, you know, by the Jedi and all that he was taught, and to see that all go in the toilet because they just blindly, hey, all right, let's follow Palpatine. You know, and Yoda's like, you know, future sense is clouded. And it's like, oh, for God's sakes. You know, it was Palpatine all along. You're like, come on.
And then somehow he returned. Anyway, sorry. I know. Look at Kat got chills. She chills over there.
No.
Kat, you've heard the couple of questions I've asked Pete, and I've asked him to drill down on it. So I'll just do the one large question. That whole theory, what I then put some points on, is that what's going on with Balin? Do you have another theory? No idea.
So it kind of reminded me, because he had said, you know, why, I just keep going back. Why do Thrawn, I mean, besides him wanting to come back to everything, but why are even the Night Sisters? This is supposedly where they got their origin, right? This is where they're from.
Yeah.
Why are they so desperate to leave the planet? Why? Well, you know, he even talks about how they're fleeing a power greater than them, or perhaps they are. fleeing a power greater than them. And they're pretty freaking powerful, right? Between them and Thrawn and all that, they should be doing okay. And they're terrified. But he has its calling to him. And he even asked her, can't you hear it? There's like some higher purpose. And it reminded me of, and I haven't totally finished the book, but in Aftermath, one of Palpatine's men says that he feels a calling through the Force, something higher. And he is always, like, even through Rebels, he's always trying to reach further into the galaxy, try to get out more power, which we saw that when they went into the Worlds Between Worlds when he was coming out. So I think I don't necessarily know if he's really going to go with, trying to get Ezra to join him and stuff like that. But I feel like there's definitely somebody else pulling the strings. And I don't know if they pulled so much stuff from Legends, because Dave Filoni loves Legends. So are they going to pull, so I don't want it to be like, oh, it's Snoke or whatever, whatever. I don't want it to be that. It may be that.
Yeah.
I would rather, there's a few people that I know in Legends that would be perfect matches for him and for even Ahsoka to have to go after or whatever. But I definitely, he's not leaving. He doesn't want to leave the planet. His apprentice does. She's like, I gotta go. No,
Right.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Daddy's here to stay. There's a bigger purpose here. So
Right.
Which goes back to my thing with Ewing, when him saying, talking about the galaxy's history and them talking about a further place. Well, okay, if this is originally where the Dathomir or the Night Sisters were from, how did they get there? To Dathomir, all this kind of stuff. So it goes into, this was the original place. So is this the place where Jedi and Sith found the Force? Is this kind of like the origin of that, and that's how he's going to try to reset everything? I don't know, but to me, it just opens up a whole other world for him.
Agree. That's the two things that I'm interested in from this episode. What is Balin up to? And what's up with those stormtroopers when we find out that I'm right? I mean, Kat, I'm going to stick with you, ma'am.
Yep.
Space Aladdin is back. What did you think of how they did this?
Space Aladdin, oh my gosh.
That's what
Okay.
Bailey used to call him, Space Aladdin. So
Space Aladdin. I'm not going to be able to get that in my head.
Arabian Nights.
The lead singer from System of a Down. He's got a beard at one point, because he mostly just has like a goatee, but he has a beard. And I was like, he kind of reminds me of him.
Serge Tankinian.
Yes. Anyway, okay, so I'm kind of disappointed with their reunion.
Yeah.
For as much as she's been pining over him and it's all been about him, they're just gonna kind of like, haha, we're just gonna talk a little bit, and then we're gonna give like this non-emotional hug, like,
right
there. I'm so happy. It's been 10 plus years. Yay! Get away from me. Really? I'm sorry. You're my best friend. I haven't seen you in 10 plus years, and I finally found you. I'm going to run to you. I'm going to tackle you, and I'm going to be sobbing like a baby because I finally found my friend. I basically destroyed the universe for you. And then I'm just going to give you there. Nice to see you, champ. Really? But at least Ezra did not bother me this episode. I will say that.
That's a plus.
I did not mind him in this episode because he was hardly in it. So... That's a plus with this scene.
There you go. If I use the word anticlimactic, would that be appropriate, Kat?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. There was no emotion. She had a motor throughout this whole thing. She didn't destroy the treasure ball. She didn't do all these things. And yet, she's got no emotion when she finally finds the man. Really?
Yeah. Well, Rick makes a good point. You think he was dry right now? Just wait till he sees Shin Hati. Things will get good then. Yeah. Not that I disagree with you, Rick. Pete, you heard my term for this. Am I crazy? What did you think? Am I being harsh? What's up?
No, very anticlimactic. I like the way Ezra looks with his beard because it looks like his dad from when, Palps was tempting him with, hey, you could be back with your family.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Your dad, your mom, look, your dad. And his dad had that beard. So I thought that was a good callback to those, or that episode in Rebels. But yeah, the whole wooden, This acting
Yeah.
was very wooden.
Yes.
I'm like,
yeah.
really? Yeah, I'm like, come here, sis. Let me.
Yeah,
It's good
yeah.
to see you. I knew
Yeah.
you'd rescue me. I'm like, that wasn't even. I'm like, did he just say that line and didn't even mean it? Like,
Right.
yeah. I'm like, come on. Yeah, for me, this is the weakest part of this episode.
Okay.
And then she's like, "Hey, hi, good to see you."
Right.
And he's like, "Hey, catch me up." Let's not talk about it. That's neither here nor there. And then he's
I'm
like,
glad you-
"Oh, we have to move. Time to pack up the trailer." And I'm like, "Wait, what? What the hell is happening?"
I'm glad you brought that up, Pete, because we went from anticlimactic the second part of this. Hey, how did you get here? Let's go get on the ship and let's get out of here as soon as possible. And she's like, let's talk about that later. That's where we get to awkward. Am I off, Pete?
No, spot on. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and Rick, you think they'd be a little more excited after 10 years of space turtle loving? No doubt, man.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was more
Exactly.
excited when they panned back to the village, like striking camp, and they, all the little turtles were busy. I'm like, well, at least that's interesting.
Yeah, Rick. Tim got it. Yeah, we got to go help the Koopa Troopas pack up. Yeah, exactly.
Mario's coming.
Exactly. Kat, how this ended. I'm going to ask you for a little. I don't usually do this, but since this was so awkward and she screwed up so royally, and the rest of the scene was so boring, and he's like, I can't wait to get out of here and get on the ship that you obviously did. Awkward. What is going to happen with him? Is he going to be pissed? He's going to be cool? Is he going to understand? You know most about the lore on this. What say you, man? What's he going to do?
Excuse my language, but shit will hit the fan.
Yeah.
He literally sacrificed himself to save everybody. He even asked her in the scene. He said, I did it, right? Everybody's okay. Like, my sacrifice was worth it. And she's all like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I chose to. I mean, it's literally okay. And I'm going to bring up something horrible, and I apologize, but it's for effect. With Rise of Skywalker. Okay, let's just slap George Lucas in the face and Anakin's sacrifice, to bring balance to the Force meant nothing with Rise of Skywalker because he never really died. She literally just slapped Ezra in the face because his sacrifice and him being away for 10 years meant nothing. And she sees it. She doesn't want to talk about it. She's like, no, this is awkward. I'm so excited to go home. And she's like, yeah, about that. We're going to be stranded on the planet together. And I gave Thrawn a way to go back home. So love ya. So glad I found ya. Aren't you happy to see me? No, he is going to lose it. And if he doesn't lose it, then that's not accurate. I'm sorry. Anybody would lose their mind and just, we may see the first Jedi, well, it may not be the first, but we may see the first Rebels force choking. Because
You did what, bitch? Yeah. Pete, really quick, disagree with Kat's assessment.
I did it for you.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to be pissed because we saw in those last couple episodes of Rebels and how much he had grown. He knew that he was going to have to sacrifice himself for the greater good. And she's like, yeah, whatevs.
Agree. All right. So we end with those guys with yeah, there you go. I'll say it again. Dave Sabine is annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen. Now the actress playing her is doing a good job. I just hate the character. Not gonna lie. G-Force brings up a good point. We got our last slide coming up here. The bus is about to leave. The fate of the galaxy is in their hands. I just want to be happy for 5 minutes. Exactly. Yeah, that's cool. Good job, Sabine. But the first part of this comment, the bus is about to leave, Pete, and they are loading up, as Rick and a bunch of other people have mentioned on here, a bunch of human-sized coffins that are going to take 3 rotations to get on there. So it's taking a long time.
There's a lot of
What's going on?
people. Yeah, bring out your dead.
You think that's what it is?
Those are bodies. Yeah, that's not like loot or like holy whack-a-mole. That's Again, they've really been put through the ringer.
Agree.
Things have not went well.
lends credence to my partially undead zombified army. Kat, what's in the crates, ma'am?
Yeah, I know it's probably people. I don't really want it to be, but I know what else is going to be in the catacombs. I get it. I know, but
Sort
I
of
don't
the
want it
greatest
to be.
people.
I know it is, but I don't want it to be. I just don't. I just don't. But yeah, that was driving me crazy. I'm like, what? Wait, that one looks smaller than that one. That one looked like a person size. That one didn't. Like what? Like it was driving me crazy. I just want to know. And then I was trying to find the catacombs research on there, and I'm like, what's in there? What's it about? I couldn't find anything. That made me upset.
I know.
I like knowing what's in the pyramids. I want to know what's in the catacombs.
Kat, you're a very demanding person, and I love it.
I am. This episode made me very demanding.
Yes, as well you should be.
I'm sorry.
We're going to pay for Disney Plus. We should get like some answers, for goodness sakes. That's for sure.
But I love that this episode was different in the fact of it answered a lot of questions and then came up with so much more questions that I have.
Agreed.
So it makes me eager for the next episode. So at least for that. Turtle soup.
I agree. Chris is just catching up. Here's another Star Trek reference. It's all the cons people, right? Yeah. Con, yeah, exactly. Con! Anyway, yeah. Good job, Chris. You're going to get Pete going on Star Trek. We're all going to get in trouble again because I join right in every time. All right. Well, it was a lot of fun. That was a good episode. Kat, I like the way you put that. There were some slow points and stuff like that, but they left us with more questions and answers, and I think they're cool questions that I would like to get. Yeah. Wow. Tim, wow. It's a bunch of Snokes in the caskets. Yeah. He hates us. You hate us, Tim.
Kicked him out. Yeah. Kicked him out. Put him in timeout. 30 seconds.
Right.
300 seconds. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Out.
But anyway, we're going to start to wrap this up. In a minute, I'm going to ask these guys for their number scores 1 to 10 on this episode. But while they're giving theirs out, and I do a little housekeeping after that, if you're in the chat with us, first of all, it's been awesome. Thank you so much. But if you'd like, why don't you join in and throw in chat whether your score is 1 to 10 and somewhere in there. And especially if it's really high or really low, if you give want to give like a 1-sentence explanation of why you give it that score, and then I'll go through those as well. But Kat, over to you, ma'am. That way I always get it backwards. This one, you know the deal. You actually invented this. What did they do well? What did they do poorly? And what's your score 1 to 10, ma'am?
What they did well, I was so excited for, is Balin. We got more of Balin. I've been asking for his background. I've been just saying over and over, like when he was fighting with Ahsoka, I want to know his background. And I'm so glad we got more of a peek into it. He's still a huge mystery, but I think they did that really well. And I'm sorry, but the cinematography in this episode absolutely killed it with so many different shots. Yeah. So that's also a plus. And then we come to the horrible reunion. Right? You cannot tell. Yeah. I have not seen my best friend in person for about 15 years. We finally saw in person. Guess what? We bawled like babies. We ran to each other. That is what you do, especially when you just screwed everybody else in the universe. You're going to show a little of emotion and reune happily to your best friend that you just found.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to get. And what is your number score 1 to 10 on this one, ma'am?
I will give it a 7.
That's the toughest score you've given so far, and I don't disagree with you, ma'am. I don't disagree with you.
It was a very weird episode. It was just, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was just, and it's not because there wasn't fighting. It was just, there's so many different elements and so many questions. Mm-hmm. So.
You know how I am. Stormtroopers, 11 out of 10. You know, so, so I'm so 15. Stupid. I'm like, yeah, exactly.
It's okay. Hayden Christensen, 1,000,000 out of 10. So
fair enough. Okay.
We all have our things.
We all have our button. Yes, we all have our button for sure. Pete, over to you, sir. What was the best thing they did, the worst thing they did, and what's your number 1 to 10, sir?
Best thing they did was Chimera and Thrawn's troops, with the exclusion of Thrawn's physical appearance. Mm-hmm. His voice was awesome, and to hear him speaking again, I really dug that. And good on them for using Lars. And because if they just had Bob do it, like, I am Admiral Thrawn, and you're like, what? So maybe I just need to rewatch it, and whenever I see Blueface, just close my eyes, and then I'm all right.
Okay.
Poorly, yes, the frickin' Ezra reunion. Like, really, we finally got to the planet. Which I just want to say this. I'm thankful this was not the season finale.
Oh, right. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, that would have. So I'm glad that we've got the reunion out of the way, but it was just so flippin' boring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there wasn't even like just a big crescendo of music.
Yeah.
I mean, we're used to, and the soundtrack comes up,
Mm-hmm.
Padme,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just
underwhelming.
poor. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Not written well, not acted well,
Yeah.
but again, the trailer park, I liked it. The setting was cool.
Right, exactly.
The bones of it.
Exactly. Where you at? 1 to
rating-
10, Pete? Yeah.
Rating wise, I give it an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. We flipped for the first time. You're actually higher than Kat this time, so that's good to see. Interesting. We're getting a lot of numbers down here in the chat. Let's see. Michael Reed, 9 out of 10. Look at that. Kat, you're going to have to get with him and see what's going on.
Yep.
Matt Thrawn. Yeah.
Thrawn.
Okay. Matt liked him. All right, that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, of course, Rick. I'm mad because the show's not about Ahsoka. Rick's like 8 out of 10 because she wasn't in the damn show. Chris, 9 out of 10, loved it. It gave a lot more background information, which is what we wanted. We talked about that. I agree. Can't wait for next episode. Don't see how this wraps up in 2 episodes. I'm going to jump back.
Yep.
Dave, predictions for how the series is going to end. Dave, I'm going to try and squeeze that in next episode because we have 2 left so that these guys have all the information so they can try and predict what's going to happen on the last episode. But we shall see. So I'm not going to go over that right now. I'll bite Chris. Completely off topic, but it's amazing how quickly action figure customizers have been able to get new figures of the witch. Yeah, I saw that. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And Enoch. There's a Black Series Enoch out there already, Pete.
Yep.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah.
Which
Hobby-
with 3D printing, I mean, I know we're going to talk toys real super fast, but that is like
Please.
way cool. I love that
Mm-hmm.
customizers and very artsy people, way more talented than I, can go, hold on, I just watched that, and now I'm going to sit here on my computer and I'm going to design that shit on my 3D printer, and by tomorrow, I'm going to have that head.
Yeah.
And it'll
Best-
still be better than Hasbro's version.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, best I'm gonna do is paint a helmet up, and it's gonna be easy because it's like the transport trooper helmet. The messier, the better. So it's gonna be awesome. Hoppy gave it an 8 out of 10. Nice. Let's see, Jonathan. Actually, a little lower than normal. 7 out of 10. Sabine just sucks every time she's on screen. Oh God. Let's see here. Let's see if VTR Dave. 6 out of 10 overall, but 11 out of 10 for space snails. Tasting with garlic. Oh man.
Good take.
Coming here we go. The layman in the group, Alan. I haven't seen any episodes, but I give the panel here a 10. Thoughtful, insight, and fun 10. Thanks, Alan. I appreciate
thanks,
that.
Alan.
Thank you.
He just says that because every time he comes up, I do his little video for him. That's
Plus, he probably wants to be on the show. So
yeah. And you know how it is. He's got the same last name as me, so he's probably got first right of refusal. So yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Michael Hendrickson, 8 out of 10. I think that's fair. Let's see. Timmy Harsh, 5 out of 10. Preferred it when it was live action Clone Wars. Yeah. Now
That was hard to beat, Tim.
It really was. You can tell the figure collectors in this group because we got live actions of figures we have. We're like, yes, that's cool. So yeah. Mr. B, 7 out of 10. I don't care for Enoch's helmet.
Ooh, interesting take.
Yeah. I like it, but it's not like it's like the Snow Trooper helmet. It's a cool oddity, but I would never want it for my own collection because it doesn't fit the aesthetic. Yeah.
Are you saying it's all Greek to you?
Yeah. I don't think about the Roman Empire all that much, Pete. Paul will get the helmet. He can't help it. I know. Michael's been watching me for like 3 years now. He knows what I'm going to do. Let's see here. Rick. Enoch's helmet was wrong, but I think if you get used to it, if she adds anything to the story. Or kill Snips. Yeah, of course, Rick. Yeah. All right. Here you go, Kat. This one's for you. Better than Ezra, Kat? G-Force is in trouble, and I'm not for once. All
Grounded.
right. Yeah, exactly. Grounded. Wizzy Wiz with the 8 out of 10. Nice. Very good. So overall, not bad. A couple of outliers there. Tim, the lowest, is not wrong, by the way. So it's not bad. Yeah. And then, of course, Balin is the best thing about the show by a million miles. Tim, we've been saying that since day one on this, and we totally agree.
Yep, he lights up these episodes.
Yes, he does. And with that, you guys, I really appreciate everybody participating in the chat. Kat and Pete, as always, man, this is so much fun. They go by so fast. It's already over 2 hours. Yeah. But you've been watching the Ahsoka Breakdown Show with Kat and Scuba Pete. We're here every Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific. Please join us next week. We have 2 more episodes left, and we're going to be doing some predictions on what the final episode is going to be and how things wind up next episode. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. And then, of course, our ending episode, we'll have a bunch of guests on. But I never, ever get us out of here, Kat, before I give you a chance to end with whatever it is you need to end with and get out any last thoughts. Ma'am, what do you have for me?
Just even though it wasn't action packed, we still got a lot, and I loved it. Even though I gave it a low rating, because I had some issues with the acting, but still, we got so much information, and I love the background. It adds more to it, so I think it'll really help out with the next episode. So I'm excited to see how they take it.
I agree. We've been doing this, and I think we're on the downward slope of the excitement, and then we're going back up next episode, hopefully.
Yep.
Pete, how about you, sir? Last thoughts? Anything you want to add?
I'm just glad that nobody arrived or is leaving riding a space whale a la Dune, with like the rope and the...
Yeah, right? Yeah. Slim pickings on a bomb. Wee-ha! The whole way down. Yeah. There's an old reference right there. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Really quick, I'm about to get us out of here, but I would be remiss if I didn't say hi to Steve-O.
Steve-O!
Hi, Steve-O.
Yeah, I know. Pete, he always gets here just in time for me to say, bye, Steve-O. So, and then I think this is an excellent comment to close with. Blue X, you're the man. I really appreciate that. I look forward to these streams every Thursday. Thank you guys. We look forward to you guys as well. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
This chat's awesome, right, guys?
No.
Chat is
Love
cranking.
everybody.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Much love to Kat, Pete, and thank you, sir. But with that, I am going to get us out of here. I just can't believe how fast these go by, you guys. But we will definitely, hopefully, for sure, possibly, or catch us on the replay. See you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.